Good afternoon, everyone. This is Rakesh Rao, Executive Editor of First Construction Council, welcoming you for today's virtual webinar that is on the topic of the rising Northeast. So this webinar is organized jointly by Construction World, Infrastructure Today, and Equipment India. Before we proceed, just a brief. After my initial remark and a short PPT, we will start with the presentation by the guest of today. And after presentations are done, we will take few questions from the audience. So that will be the format. So with this, I will start with the proceeding by sharing some information about our organization, that's First Construction Council, and also the topic of today's discussion. Hope the screen is visible to everybody.
Yes, visible.
So First Construction Council is an infrastructure think tank focused on providing the latest updates on the construction industry and dedicated to promoting its causes and needs. The council is a platform to promote the adoption of best practices and be the torchbearer for all policy initiatives that are needed for the welfare of the construction industry. It is the industry's unified voice. The council is governed by a board of governors who are from the industry. We have Mr. D.K. Sen, Director and Senior Executive VP, Larsen and Toubro Architect, Hafiz Contractor, Pradeep Singh, former VC and MD of IDFC, Mr. Vinayak Pai of Tata Projects Limited, Mr. Sanjay Said, Senior Director, TERI and CEO, Griha Council, Sandeep Singh, MD, Tata Hitachi, Subodh Dixit, former Executive Director, Sapuji Palanji, and Mr. Sumit Banerjee, ex-MD and CEO of ACC Cement Limited. And members of the council benefit in more than one ways. These include industry networking opportunities, knowing consumption trends, understanding the market conditions better, and access to growth opportunity. And how do members achieve all this benefit? Through research papers that we bring out frequently on various industries, infrastructure related industries, and also through various events, webinars, conferences, industry award ceremony. Recently, on March 5th and 6th, First Construction Council hosted Cement Expo Forum at Taj Krishna, Hyderabad, with the theme of growing profitably. The event also witnessed the presentation of Indian Cement Review Awards to the cement companies to recognize the contribution of the industry in nation building. With over 1,000 delegates, Cement Expo Forum brought together industry leaders, professionals, decision makers from across the India cement and construction sector. The forum was just a precursor to the mega event, that is the Cement Expo 2025 exhibition, which will be held on November 12th and 13th in Delhi, along with the Multi Logistics Expo 2025. So on screen, you could see the list of events that the First Construction Council is going to organize in 2025-26. So we will have, Rasta Expo along with India Construction Festival in September at Geo World Center, then QAB in September, that is the Construction World Architect and Builders Awards, and as I mentioned, Cement Expo and Multi Logistics in November. So in case anybody is interested in First Construction Council, please drop us an email at contact@firstconstructioncouncil.com. So coming to the topic of today's discussion, that is the Northeast rising. As you know, with multiple central and state level scheme, the Northeast region is undergoing a rapid transformation in terms of infrastructure, including industrial and technology parks, logistics hubs, cold chains, and etc. Northeast region has witnessed a dramatic rise in budget allocation, with the outlay increasing by over 193% from 361 billion rupees in 2014 to 1058 billion in FY 25-26. This financial boost underscores the government's commitment to bridging the development gap in the region. The region's road infrastructure has seen significant progress. The number of national highways has risen from 80 in 2014 to 103 in 2023. Union government has also announced Unnati 2024 scheme to foster economic growth and industrialization in the Northeast. So during the course of today's event, we will explore the transformative journey of Northeast and emerging opportunities for companies in the region. Our guest for today's webinar include Mr. Manmohan Parkash, former Senior Advisor, Office of President, Asian Development Bank, Mr. R.A. Zeliang, GM, Northeastern Development Financial Corporation Limited, Mr. Sanjeev Patil, CEO of National Highway Logistics Management Limited, Mr. Prashant Jain, VP Ropes and Intermodal Hub Infrastructure, NHLM, and Mr. Pankaj Surana, Director, Tax and Regulatory Services, Ernst & Young LLP. So with this, I would just stop sharing and hand over the podium to our first guest, Mr. Manmohan Prakash. So before he begins, a few words about him. Mr. Parkash brings over 38 years of expertise in economic policy, development finance, and green technologies, having held senior positions at Asian Development Bank, including senior advisors in the Office of the President, Deputy Director General for South Asia, and Country Director for Bangladesh. His extensive experience spans shaping policy frameworks, mobilizing billions for sustainable development, and fostering green finance initiatives. With this, I would like to hand over the virtual stage to Mr.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rao. Is it audible?
Yeah, it is audible.
Okay. So let me quickly start the day. In fact, I think it's a huge opportunity for me to be able to present for a region that is very close to my heart. So I think within the 15 minutes that I have, I'm going to show you a blueprint that I have for this region, which is full of opportunities. So the first thing is that it's actually a region. If you look at the current GDP, it's around $100 billion. It's less than $100 billion. But the good news there is that the growth rate for all the states that are there is in excess of 10%. The region is also well endowed with resources. And as we have been talking about it earlier, that the region is also a gateway for the Southeast Asia and ASEAN, two of the fastest growing regions in the Asia Pacific region. The region is also home to some wonderful people, rich history, and great work ethics. So if you really look at this whole, it is really an opportunity which can help us to expand the potential of this region. Now, this is the growth rate that I have got for the current growth rate for Northeast India. And if you look at this growth rate, except Nagaland, which had 4.7%, Assam had 15%, Arunachal 29%, Manipur almost 22%, Sikkim 17%, Mizoram 19%. This is one of the fastest growing regions of India. And there is a huge opportunity for this if we can tap it into this at the right moment. Now, so for me, if you really look at the current GDP, which I said is less than 100 billion, I see this region as becoming $1 trillion economy by the year 2050. And why and how it is feasible? Many people may ask, is it feasible? It is feasible because if you look at the growth rates are from 11 to 29%. And taking growth rate of 9 to 10% can help us to achieve 2050. How do you do that? You'd really have to take a multi-pronged approach, comprehensive approach that encompasses infrastructure development, investment, innovation, and integration with the global markets and sustainable growth. So in my today's presentation, I'm actually going to share with you a blueprint that the government of India and the northeastern states, the private sector can adopt so that they can realize a thriving, resilient, and sustainable Northeast. The first and foremost part that comes is the development of infrastructure. And in the infrastructure development, the transport and connectivity infrastructure is very important. So the trilateral highway, which is the India-Myanmar-Thailand National Highway, is important, as well as the connectivity with Myanmar and Bangladesh is important. This can really give good exit to the exports and imports for the region. For the railway network, the Northeast Frontier Railway needs to be expanded, and probably there is a need for developing a plan to develop high-speed rail system that can connect Northeast with the Southeast Asia. On the airports and air connectivity, there are some regional airports that have come, but these need to be expanded, particularly in Guwahati, Agartala, Silchar, that can help not just the passenger traffic, but can also help in increasing the cargo traffic. Today, if you look at the trade that happens, almost about 25% of the tea exports have increased in the last 5 years. But if we could get better connectivity, certainly the ASEAN trade can increase significantly. The total trade with ASEAN today, last year, was about $122 billion, which is 10% of India's foreign trade. So in that context, this has significant opportunity. And the balance of trade is not in favor of India. Actually, India imports more than what it exports to ASEAN, and the Northeast states can actually help export many more products to the ASEAN nations. Inland waterways is the cheapest mode of transportation, and the National Waterway 2 and the river ports in Assam, they can actually be a very, very cost-effective way of transportation of goods, reducing the logistics cost and increasing trades. There is good news that the National Waterway 2 there has been some progress, but one would want to see more in terms of this particular waterway with Bangladesh and Myanmar. Last but not the least is the urbanization that is taking place in India. And there's a need to create smart, sustainable cities that can really improve the quality of life, that can make sure that the urbanization is more equitable and more sustainable. In terms of infrastructure, there is one more area which I would like to emphasize, and that is about the digital infrastructure. And the digital infrastructure is important not just because it is the internet connectivity, but it is more to help sectors like e-commerce, IT services, and digital educations. Another area which needs to be done is to really establish data centers and tech innovation hubs. Just recently, there was this Assam Summit 2.0, and there a lot of talk was discussed about creating these data centers and innovation hubs. This will help in promoting fintech, e-governance, and agri-tech. Infrastructure development is the backbone of economic growth, and this needs to be sustained. Good progress has been made, but more needs to be done. Moving to the second part of this part is really the strategic investments. Now, investments are important, but what you need is to really make strategic investment in some areas and not all areas. Hydropower, Arunachal has 50,000 megawatts of untapped hydropower potential. Investments in hydropower, investments in renewable energy will help not only meet the local needs, but also help to export energy to other parts of India as well as to neighboring countries. Bangladesh is energy deficient country, and if India has surplus power, it can be exported to Bangladesh. Solar and wind energy, there's huge potential. And this, again, partnering with private sector can help India in its clean energy growth. The battery and storage solutions is something where you really need to invest more. It will help to not only have energy security, but also promote more sustainable modes of transportation. Agriculture is another area for this region where investment is needed. Setting up agro-processing units will add value to the Northeast India's rich agriculture, particularly like tea, oranges, pineapples, and organic produce. This will boost exports, it will reduce wastage, and generate cash. Similarly, there is a need for promoting smart agriculture and precision farming technologies, which can help improve productivity and sustainability. The other areas where more investment is needed or strategic investment is needed is the manufacturing sector. India really needs to invest more in creating jobs. And this can only happen if you have manufacturing. Manufacturing accounts today only for 13% of India's entire sector. So we really need to get it around 40 to 50%. Service sector is the major sector. Creating manufacturing hubs, special economic zones will help. Areas like electronics, pharmaceuticals, automobiles, renewable energy equipment, these are the areas where manufacturing needs to be uh, enhanced in this region. This will also help you to attract foreign investment. It will help to enhance exports. To create this industrial growth, we need to invest more in business friendly policies. We need to encourage private investments and foreign direct investments in sectors like energy, infrastructure, and manufacturing. The region is home to some of the most exciting tourism places, promoting ecotourism and heritage, promoting cultural heritage and biodiversities. This will help to attract more international tourists. Recently, we saw the Kumbh Mela. Promoting pilgrimage and adventure tourism will help promote a more people-oriented development. Places like Nagaland, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, they have a lot to offer. Strategic investments will power growth in the region. Moving on, we also need a very innovative ecosystem, and promoting an innovation ecosystem is important. The important thing here is the country that is endowed with young people. The Northeast region has a lot of young people. We need to create education hubs for higher education and research institutions, particularly in areas like renewable energy, technology, agriculture, and biotechnology. These can help to create more job opportunities for these young people and the youth. Skill development centers, the government has promoted. There is a need to really give more emphasis on this, particularly in areas like ICT, clean energy, manufacturing, and entrepreneurship. Startup incubators and innovation parks will help establish entrepreneurship amongst these people. And the areas where I would suggest this would be agri-tech, fintech, IT, or even for that matter, the new technologies that are coming up. Focusing on women entrepreneurs. India's women labor participation rate is one of the lowest at 13%, 14%. We really need to promote women entrepreneurs and youth-led enterprises. On the research and development, we need to promote more green technologies. We need to promote more research and development on clean energy, biofuels, and water conservation technologies. The agri-tech solutions is an important area which can help us to address water scarcity and crop production. It will help improve yields and it also make farming more profitable. The next area which I would like to emphasize here is about trade and investment with ASEAN. It is a gateway to the east. Bangladesh and Myanmar connectivity needs to be promoted further. The trilateral highway, which I mentioned, is important, but so also is the connectivity to the Chittagong port. These ports will provide access to the produce in the Northeast and help integrate this with the ASEAN market. Creating export hubs for products in agriculture, handicrafts, renewable energy, and pharmacy will also help create more export opportunities for the region. The ASEAN-India trade agreement, which is actually a good agreement, needs to be worked out so that the exports, investments, and regional cooperation can be further boosted. India has done well in the digital economy and promoting cross-border e-commerce and digital trade, which has been expanded to countries like Nepal, Bhutan, should be also explored for opportunities in Southeast Asia and other growing consumer markets. Building fintech ecosystems will help cross-border financial transactions and payments. And this is an area where more is needed to be done with the ASEAN countries. Now, in terms of the growth model, I suggest that we must go for a sustainability and green growth model. Carbon neutrality, Northeast region can take the lead in the country by becoming the first carbon neutral region by 2040. This can be done by adopting renewable energy, electric vehicles, and sustainable practices. Forest management and biodiversity, which is very rich in the Northeast, The investments in sustainable forestry and biodiversity conservations can help promote ecotourism and forest-based livelihoods. The growth needs to be resilient, the growth needs to be inclusive, and for that, there is a need for having affirmative policies in education, healthcare, employment, and entrepreneurship. Not only the smart cities, but we also need to create smart villages. Now, smart villages, sustainable villages with access to digital infrastructure, quality healthcare, improved livelihoods will help reduce urban migration and foster rural prosperity. Next is the government support and the governance support. There we really need a lot of policy support in terms of making the doing business easier. For this, the regulatory processes need to be streamlined, bureaucratic hurdles need to be removed, and businesses need to be promoted. Promoting startups, small businesses will help attract foreign investments. Giving more tax incentives and infrastructure support will attract private investment. The public private partnerships is an extremely useful tool to help leverage investments in the infrastructure sector as well as in other sectors such as energy and agriculture. In terms of the governance, we really need to promote more we need to provide more capacity at the grassroots levels, and we must see that each state has a different way of really doing their own things. Collaborative governance is a model that should be promoted between the government, central government, private sector, state government, and local communities. These will really help in efficient and effective decision making. So, friends, if I have to conclude, let me say that turning Northeast India into a $1 trillion economy is possible. The region can become a growth region. It can power India's economic future. India wants to become a fully developed economy by 2047, and this can be an important building block. But this will need the right mix of infrastructure, investment, innovation, and integration. And it will require bold action, collaboration, and a clear focus on sustainable and inclusive growth. Friends, the time to act is now, and together we can make Northeast India a shining example of prosperity, innovation, and global leadership. Before I conclude, let me also thank the organizers for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to share my views in this August gathering. I'll be happy to take any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Prakash, for your excellent presentation and in giving us a the potential, rather the overview of the potential of Northeast region and its relevance for the growth of the country's economics development. Audience, just a reminder, if you have any questions to him or any of the presenters, please type in your questions in the chat box. We will take these questions towards the end of the event. So with this, I would now request our second guest, Mr. R.E. Zeliang, on the virtual platform. So Mr. Zeliang presently serves as a General Manager and Head of Micro and Small Enterprises for the entire Northeastern states at Northeastern Development Financial Corporation Limited. He is an expert on credit appraisals and monitoring of projects for small scale to large scale in Northeast region, both manufacturing as well as service sectors. He is well traveled in entire Northeastern states and is familiar with the government law, land laws, customs, and traditions. Today, he will share with us his views on emerging opportunities in Northeastern region. So over to you, Mr. Zeliang, for your presentation.
Is my presentation visible?
Yes, yes, Mr. Zeliang.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be a part of this deliberation. When I got the invitation, I thought it is a good opportunity to share my experiences. But first of all, a good evening to everyone, and especially the ASAPP Global Info for organizing this, the Rising Northeast. And I think it is a very appropriate topic for us to discuss. And greetings to the other speakers and all the participants in the webinar today. The NEDFi is associated with the industries in the Northeast. So we are very much in this race of development. Today, when we see the transformation, which my previous speaker has spoken about, sometimes it surprises us that what we could not imagine 20 years back is happening today. And so I want to take you through some of the things that through my experiences, and I think it will change the perspective of people who are with us today. The topic, the rising Northeast, is very apt and very appropriate. And today I want to tell all of you that this is the right place and the right time to invest in the new Northeast. The Honorable PM said that Northeast is the new growth engine of new India. And he didn't just say it like that. There is a reason, there is a place for which he said that. So today I want to talk a little bit about infrastructure development, mostly through public investment. I'll just briefly tell you about NEDFi and the private investment in Northeast, and briefly trade with neighboring countries. Now, my previous speaker had spoken at length about the development, but I think what I can add to what he had said through these practical experiences and what is happening here in the ground will make you see things in a different perspective. So NEDFi is today a premier financial institution. We provide loans to industries. So now notice today we are talking about potential, but we actually see that there is an improved infrastructure in terms of road connectivity, railway connectivity, air connectivity, and it's at par with the rest of the world, the rest of the country. And we also have a lot of waterways which are under development. And many infrastructure projects are on the way in progress. Smart cities, for example, he was mentioning about. So I am trying to talk more in terms of the major points of development that is happening, which are important to, for the development, for the progress. Data connectivity. 4G data is available in many of the remote areas. In fact, most of the remote areas. So today we travel across different places, even to villages and small towns and places. We are able to connect with our office, do our video conferencing, and roam around in different places, post our photos and videos. That talks a lot about the changes that has happened in the last few years. And the next thing that is important for a development is proactive state government. Today, state government, all the state governments are very proactive and industry friendly. Assam being overall the most progressive state. We'll just talk about it a little bit later. Tripura, for example, Tripura, they have very good industrial park, bamboo park, rubber park, plastic park. But today they are talking about creating a pharma hub. And I'm also part of the deliberation. So the government is trying hard to bring pharmaceutical companies to the state of Tripura. Nagaland, for example, now they started talking about ease of doing business and also startup. This is in association with NEDFi. We have a startup company. Manipur has a startup fund with NEDFi, which has already started operation this year. So you see different governments, other governments are also there, but these are new development that I'm just trying to mention. But proactive state government for investment. And we have private investment, mega investment by Tata, Adani, Reliance, Patanjali, and many others. So today investment are happening and it's going to happen. The next thing that we see is entrepreneurship culture has really picked up today. Many people who have stayed outside, whether it is doctors, whether it is IT professionals or other engineers, many of them are coming back here. And they have started their own entrepreneurial journey. And another area is the startup culture. Whether it's in the city, urban, or rural setup, there are many startup in the areas of, let's say, food processing or herbal extract, medicinal extract, or farming, for example. So we see a lot of change that is happening in the in this sphere. Now, all these things are leading to changes in what notice today. What changes have come? NER economy is in expansion mode. GSDP, as mentioned, is 9.5 to 11%, which is phenomenal, much above the country's average. And I think it's going to be continue at this rate, or if not more. In the last few years, the about 5,500 kilometer national highway is added, 2,000 kilometer rail track, and 8 new airport. Now there are 17 airports operational in Northeast. I am told that all this investment is to the tune of about 4 lakh crore. The figures I'm also quoting from our donor minister who had just spoken about all this development recently. Maybe the figures may be a little here and there, but this gives a picture, and many more are being added in terms of road, in terms of rail and airport. So, for example, Guwahati Airport is going to be a major change starting from this year. 4G connectivity. So all these things is giving rise to convenience, connectivity, reduced travel time. When we travel to different places in the Northeast, about 20-25 years back, where it takes us about 9 hours, today we take about 4 hours, sorry. Many 4 lanes are being constructed, operational, and all the state capitals are now being connected with 4 lane. And even the other smaller hubs and smaller towns are connected with good roads, and travel has become absolutely pleasure. So that is leading to some changes which I'm not combining it here, but tourism has taken a leap and bounds. One of the reasons is because of the connectivity and convenience and reduced time of travel. That I will discuss in the private investment, because these are mostly related to public investment. Some of the upcoming mega projects in Northeast, the Guwahati Airport Terminal will be completed by 2025 April, and it will handle about 34 air traffic per hour. So that's going to really improve from 18 or 17 at present. There's another project, Arunachal Frontier Highway, along the line of actual control, about 1,600 kilometers, which will take some time, but it's going to change the the way the travel is. And today, Arunachal, for example, the earlier, many of the places are connected only through helicopter, but today there are roads going everywhere, and traveling is absolutely a pleasure there. Kamakya Temple Corridor, they are going to create a facility and infrastructure which will improve the religion tourism, and for the devotees to come and visit Kamakya. Sella Tunnel, it's a double lane tunnel connecting Tawang for both military as well as public convenience. And that has really improved the connectivity to Tawang. And I don't know if you know, in Tawang we already have a 5-star hotel, which is Taj Vivanta. There's another Guwahati Metro project coming up, which is also a huge investment. So these are some of the things, just to give you a perspective how things are changing in Northeast. And investment is coming from public, private, multilateral, and PPP. So now I want to just give you a brief. NEDFi is a financial institution. We give term loan, equity assistance, even microfinance for the grassroots player, and venture capital funding. And we cover all the northeastern states, and we fund private enterprises. And we are the central subsidy dispersal agency and central nodal agency for dispersal of the funds that are for central projects in the Northeast. So we have other activities which I will not get into it, but there's a CSR project which we have. If any of you want to invest your CSR in Northeast, maybe you can contact us. Or for that matter, if you want to involve equity investment in Northeast, venture capital, you can contact us. Over the last 20-25 years, this healthcare, education, tourism, food processing, real estate, tea, construction materials, cement, metal and alloys, infrastructure, these are some of the key sectors which have taken good growth in all over the Northeastern region. And we know this because we are participating in the funding all these projects. The resources, you see, we have petroleum, tea, hydropower, uranium, bamboo and natural resources, limestone, coal, rubber, and agriculture, and some exotic medicinal and aromatic products. Now, opportunities for investment in the public, it is road, railway, all this we had discussed about. But for private investment, I would say the sunrise sector today are hotels and tourism, healthcare, education, real estate, IT and ITES. So over the last few years, the growth in these sectors have been very consistent, and even in terms of the loan repayment, these sectors are doing extremely well. So, for example, today, Assam Advantage has shown the way. I don't know if some of you have been there. Over 1.5 lakh investment only by few houses like Tata, Reliance, Adani, Jindal, Vedanta. There it was committed. Tata Semiconductor plant is already in Guwahati, which is about 27,000 crore investment, which will be operational very soon. Reliance announced that they will invest in a 7-star hotel costing about 50 crore. Adani said they will invest about 50 crore, for example. Tata has some other project which they said will also be about 30-40 crore. Now, all these things give perception that they are ready to invest. They are ready to take the step forward. And Northeast is a place where we have 99% with bordering with the trade neighboring countries. So I'll give you a brief of what is there. If you look at this picture, 99% border with neighboring countries. It's a gateway to Southeast and East Asian countries. And we have Chittagong Port and Sitre Port, which are two very important ports for connecting Northeast with the rest of Southeast and East Asian countries. I'm not going to get into detail, but just to give a brief, even my previous speaker had already spoken. So some of the projects that are coming, the big projects are Asian Trilateral Highway, Agartala-Akhara Railroad, which I'm told is completed. It can be inaugurated anytime. And Kaladan Multi-Modal Project. This is waterway, roadways, and sea. So riverway. So this all these things bring about economic and social cultural ties with the Southeast and East Asia. And therefore now the focused development in Northeast, improved infrastructure, impressive economic growth, which also brings about socio-economic changes in the region. And there are many potential sectors which I have shared with you. And there's a huge opportunity for border trades in the future. So Northeast is going to rise and it will rise further. That's why in the beginning I said that my take today is it is the right time and place for investment. So with these few things, I will conclude my presentation. Thank you so much, and we can take questions when the time comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Zeliang, for your excellent presentation and giving us an oversight on what are the investment opportunities for companies in Northeast. So with this, I would now call upon our next speaker, Mr. Sanjeev Patil. So Mr. Patil is a management professional with hands-on experience of more than 35 years in infrastructure project management. He is working as a Chief Executive Officer, independent in charge at National Highway Logistics Management Limited, a 100% subsidiary company of NHAI. He is responsible for the development of 35 multimodal logistics parks, ropeways, wayside amenities, port connecting roads across India. So over to you, Mr. Patil, for your presentation. I will share your presentation from here.
Mr. Patil, you are on mute.
Hope the presentation is visible to everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Rakesh. I'm very much thankful to First Construction Council for giving us this opportunity and to explain what NHLML is doing, particularly about the various new initiatives of Government of India, like multimodal logistic park. And as Mr. Manmohan expressed, we are into development of digital infrastructure also along our all national highways. We are creating a special corridor for development of OFCs, which is the need of this country for having better connectivity across, particularly states like Northeast states. So that is a big initiative from our MORTH side, Ministry of Road Transport. So taking over to multimodal logistic park, I would like to explain that Government of India has carried out one LEAP study, logistic efficiency performance study, in which it has noticed that India is lagging quite low into this multimodal logistic park, and the cost of logistic in India is considerable high. To reduce this logistic cost, along with reduced pollution, reduced traffic congestion on roads, Government of India has taken an initiative of development of 35 multimodal logistic parks. Next slide, please, Mr. Rakesh. As you can see that, as compared to overall world, India's ranking for logistic performance index as on date is 38. Even though you can see that some small countries like Singapore, logistic performance index is 4.3 and their ranking is 1. Similarly, in Germany, their ranking is 3 and logistic performance index is 4.1. But as against that, India being such a big country with a 140 crore population, we are lagging quite a low, and our logistic performance index is 3.4 with a now numbering at 38. should take up this initiative to reduce the logistic cost. Government of India has approved 35 multimodal logistic parks across India. Next, please. Rakesh Rao, you can jump this slide also. Next, please. So these are the locations of 35 multimodal logistic parks. And these locations are based on certain study carried out by various consultants in India based on the transportation need, cargo movement in India. They have decided these 35 multimodal logistic park locations. You can see that particularly for Northeast, everyone knows that Jogigopa in Assam, very close to Guwahati, is one of the location for development of multimodal logistic park. This multimodal logistic park is under development by my sister concern, National Highway Development Corporation Limited, NHIDCL. They are developing this park, and as on date, the entire infrastructure is complete, and further some activities of development of warehouse and other activities are going on. This MMLP at Jogigopa will help Northeast like anything to reduce the logistic cost. Everyone in this webinar may be aware that today, even if they want onion, it goes from Nasik to Meghalaya or Assam or any other Northeast countries. That will be transported from my Nasik MMLP to Guwahati MMLP through through rail, which is a greener transport and faster also. Then from there, it will be for last mile connectivity, it will go by road. So with this intention, Government of India has taken up these initiatives. As on date, the status of these MMLPs, the MMLP at Jogigopa, the infrastructure is already ready. Then Chennai, Indore, Bangalore, Nagpur and Jalna, the work is in progress. And particularly these 5 MMLP, Chennai, Bangalore, Indore, Bangalore and Nagpur, these are taken under PPP mode. This is not the government thrust that I am creating this infrastructure and putting on you. No, it is this initiative of development is taken on PPP mode. And various PPP operators are there. They are investing into this park. In this case, just to have a ease of doing business, Government of India is providing them adequate land, then rail connectivity, 4-lane highway connectivity, water supply, power supply, and environmental clearance, which are the generally treated as the hurdles for any private operators. These all hurdles are taken care by Government of India, and the private developer is coming here and developing the park as per his need. Whatever that area requires, there may be need of cold storage, there may be need of good white goods warehousing facility or any other similar facility related to logistic that he is free to develop into this park. And these my 5 parks are already into construction, and 3 parks, for example, MMLP at Anandpur, Pune and Nasik, they are also, as on date, bids are live for PPP operators. Anyone who is interested to invest into this park, they are open to see these bids and invest, go ahead for bidding of these parks. Next slide, please. See, generally these MMLP comes up with a mandatory rail siding. This is taken by care by the authority. It has a 4-lane road connectivity, but all other internal facilities will be developed by the concessionaire. Also, Government of India is providing here custom clearance facility. So there is no need to go to any port. All the custom clearance will happen into this facility itself. Suppose all Northeast states want to send certain material from Northeast region to anywhere outside India. Like as I visited in my visit to Tripura, I came to know that very good quality pineapples are grown into Tripura. But there is no market. They directly fly to Gulf countries. but they don't come to Mumbai or Delhi. So that is the problem with the Northeast states as on date. Then to overcome such problems, so Government of India has given this facility, and we are particularly, if I want to talk about the Northeast, even Zeliang has just now touched that point. There is one park coming up by NHIDCL on the bank of Gomti River near Udaipur. It has a connectivity with waterway, it has a connectivity with railway, and it has a connectivity with highway. 3 modes are coming up into that location near Udaipur. So such initiatives are being undertaken by Government of India. Next slide, please. So all these MMLPs are developed by Government of India with 3 various partners. One, our partner is Rail Vikas Nigam Limited, who is responsible for providing rail connectivity to MMLP. Then there is a state government involvement. State government will provide us land for development of MMLP, and Ministry of Road Transport through NHLML, they are providing funds for other infrastructure create. For example, 4-lane road connectivity, power supply, water supply, and in case any funds are required for rail connectivity, that will be provided by this NHLML. With these 3 stakeholders, there will be a SPV who will award this project to private operator on DBFOT model, Design, Build, Finance, Operate and Transfer model, PPP model, and private concessionaire has these leasing rights for 45 years. The concession period is 45 years. So he can comfortably develop this facility there is a development window also. He can develop this facility into 3 phases in the initial period of 15 years, and there's just operated balance 30 years. So his entire concession period is 45 years. And the next slide, please. The cycle for development of MMLP is after issuance of the successful bidder, after issuance of the LOA to successful bidder, there will be a 45 days window for submission of the creation of SPV, special purpose SPV, and then there will be agreement. After signing of agreement, there will be a window of 180 days for submission of the performance bank guarantee and other things. And then his concession period will start from appointed date for the next 45 years. So with this initiative, Government of India aims to reduce logistic cost, carbon footprint, as this entire multimodal activity is by rail for long haul connectivity. So carbon footprint will be reduced. Also, we are looking for RoRo facility as well as even transportation by newly manufactured cars by NMG Rex. That will also considerably reduce the logistic cost of new cars as well as first and last mile connectivity. As due to RoRo facility, the truck will be directly loaded on rakes, and there is no need of any handling. Handling cost will come down. After reaching its destination, the truck will go to its final or last mile connectivity. And many of the our today's webinar may be aware that there is a RoRo facility from Amul to Delhi, Gujarat to Delhi. Delhi, one full rake is coming carrying milk containers, milk trucks. 23 milk trucks are coming from Sanand in Gujarat to Delhi, Rewari in Delhi, NCR. Such facility is going on Konkan Railway also. Similar facility from Mangalore to Kalamboli in Mumbai. So with this, there is a Government of India's initiative to reduce these all various problems as on date, like and which will help into reduction into logistic cost. As on date, our target is to reduce the logistic cost to a single digit in next 5 years after completion of these all 35 MMLP parks, which is as on date 16%. but we are aiming it to bring down to 9%. And all these MMLPs will be connected with a double line rail connectivity as well as 4-line rail connectivity. So transportation anywhere from India, any destination, it may be from Jogigoppa to Nasik or even further south to Coimbatore or Coimbatore to vice versa, it is easily possible. So this is all related to logistic park. I will not take much time. My colleague Prashant is also waiting. He is responsible for development of Ropeways and IMS. So any questions, I will take it at end. Thank you, Mr. Rakesh.
Thank you, Mr. Patil, for your excellent presentation. So I should stop the sharing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I would now request our next speaker, Mr. Prashant Jain. Before he starts, few words about Mr. Jain. Mr. Jain is the Vice President, Ropeways and Intermodal Hub Infrastructure at National Highways Logistics Management Limited. He has a vast experience managing PPP projects such as industrial parks, interstate bus terminal, alternate mobility solutions like cable cars, intermodal stations, etc. He will highlight the importance of roadway projects in the development of Northeast region. Over to you, Mr. Jain.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So thank you for this wonderful opportunity to speak at the Construction Council webinar. And as the esteemed speakers have already spoken a lot about the infrastructure development happening in India. As rightly said, sir, infrastructure development is the backbone of a nation's progress, and it directly influences the economic growth, regional connectivity, and overall quality of the life. Ministry of Road Transport and Highways have already, launched multiple initiatives to develop infrastructure, such as the National Infrastructure Pipeline. Then there was a Bharatmala Pariyojana. Then there's a Sagarmala program. But despite these advancements, there was a gap in the connectivity, which was the last mile connectivity, which was a challenge for hilly and forested regions, such as considering the India's geography, which is about 30% of hill and forested regions. So to address this, Government of India launched the Parvatmala Pariyojana in the Union Budget of 2022-2023. So the focus of this program was or is to transform the last mile connectivity in hilly regions and also act as an alternative mobility solution to various urban locations where land or land is a constraint and other utilities are a constraint. So in a very limited land parcels, these facilities pertaining to ropeways can be developed. So coming to the perspective of basically leveraging the ropeways for the development of Northeast region, we had as NHLML we developed we got the mandate to develop this sector, and North received about 350 odd proposals from various states for development of ropeways in their particular states. And it was a very promising number that from the northeastern states of about 7 sisters we received about 33 proposals from that state, from the entire region. So we basically worked upon the detailed feasibility reports of certain projects. Just to come on to that, before I just give you a brief of the ropeways in the last 5 decades in our country. So as you can see that Darjeeling had the first passenger ropeway in the country in 1968, and as on date we have only about 67 ropeway and funicular projects being run in the country. If that is compared with the global presence of countries like France and Switzerland, France alone has about more than 2,900, 3,000 establishments of ropeway. So our focus was to basically develop an institutional capacity and a technical expertise to take the ropeway sector to take the ropeway sector forward in our country, and also to improve the last mile connectivity in our northeastern regions. So the benefit of the ropeway Parvatmala Pariyojana was to basically promote affordable transportation mode, which is safer and has accessibility to remote locations. So now coming on to the journey so far of the NHLML, if we talk about, as I already mentioned, that we received more than about 350 proposals from various states. 33 were from the North Indian states. So we initially took about 15 projects across the country to be developed, as a world-class, ropeway project. So for the first initial, we took Kamakhya, and the other project which we are under the process of, developing the project report is Tawang. As mentioned by our colleague from NEDFi, he mentioned about the Kamakhya temple corridor is, is under planning and shall be taken up soon. Also, the connectivity about the Tawang. So I feel, the development of these ropeway projects in these zones will definitely impact the overall, economic development of this particular zone. Besides that, just to add, as our fellow member from NEDFi also mentioned about the Guwahati airport. So there we were in discussion with the Assam government also. So they are also keen to develop a ropeway system to from the city up to the ropeway. So what I mean to say is basically northeastern states have come forward to share their proposals, and we have already taken up Kamakhya and Tawang. Besides that, if I were to talk about besides that, we have taken up DPR, detailed project report, for 3 more projects in the northeastern states. And one thing I would also like to add upon is we are creating a lot of infrastructure separately. Like this is ropeway. Then we were talking about airport and other modes of transportations. So there should also be a proposal to develop, an intermodal station where we can actually basically integrate all these, transportation modes and save on space, give passenger convenience at one location, which will impact, the entire state or the entire region in every way. So as I said, detailed project report is being initiated for 3 more ropeway projects in the northeast states. In fact, Mizoram government also invited us for doing a study report and just guiding them on how to develop a ropeway for decongesting their city. Mizoram is a city which is congested and it's highly dense. So we had discussed with them about the proposal for implementing a ropeway in that particular state, which they have to come back to us. Tripura also, we had initiated a study which was which one was that? Tripura. And
Chabimura.
yes, sir.
Chabimura, na?
Chabimura, sir. Chabimura. Sorry. Yes, Chabimura. So, what I mean to say, sir, in a nutshell, I would like to summarize the entire presentation. That for the Northeast, the future of ropeway infrastructure, holds an immense potential, because it will be a game changer. Connectivity will be to the remote regions. Then it will stimulate the economic development, eco-friendly transport, an alternative which will having a minimum environmental impact. Minimum tree cutting is required for placing out the towers or the stations. In fact, I just went to Tawang. There's a old existing ropeway and it is defunct. It is not being used. So, which can be, transformed into a new, safer system in Tawang. So, by concluding, my conclusion is that, for Northeast as a state, Parvatmala is not just an infrastructure project. It is a vision to define mobility, tourism, and economic growth in India's hilly and remote regions. So, with collaborative efforts with the government, industry, stakeholder, and local administrations and councils, like the construction council. So it will be a different model for the world to for transportation and connectivity to the remote hilly regions of our country. So that's about it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jain, for your presentation and giving us an overview of different kinds of ropeway projects that you are working on and the future upcoming projects as well. So with this, I will now call upon our last speaker, Mr. Pankaj Surana. Mr. Pankaj Surana is the Director, Tax and Regulatory Services at Ernst & Young LLP. He is an experienced professional working extensively on central and state incentives across sectors and locations. He will highlight the benefits of Unnati scheme for Northeastern states during his presentation today. So over to you, Mr. Pankaj.
Thank you, Mr. Rakesh, and thank you, First Construction Council, for providing this opportunity. And good evening to all the fellow speakers and all the participants on this webinar. So I'll be sharing my views on the Unnati scheme. So we were all discussing, how the Northeast is going to rise. So basically, to rise all the northeastern states, the central government has introduced a scheme which is called Unnati scheme, and this scheme was introduced in March 2024. The basic intention of the scheme is to attract investments in all these 8 northeastern states and also generate employment opportunities to foster growth of these 8 states. Now, what are the various states which are covered under this scheme are Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, and Tripura. If we see the total outlay which is prescribed by the central government under the scheme is around 10,000 crores, out of which around 9,700 crores is earmarked for the industry. Various incentives would be given by the central government for setting up, new units in these states or expansion of the existing units, and the remaining 300 crore earmarked towards implementation of the scheme. Now, this is a central sector scheme, which is like a scheme which was there in the Jammu and Kashmir also. And it is valid for a period of 10 years, which is effective from 9th March 2024 and till 8th March 2034, and along with the 8 years committed liabilities. So incentives will be provided to units which are going to commence their commercial production during this period. And also there is a registration period window, which I'm going to take in the next slide. Now, currently, it is envisaged that there are around 2,200 applications which will come as part of this scheme. And there will be an employment generation to 83,000 people, along with some indirect employment generation also. So current status, if I see, around 300 applications has been received by the government under this scheme, and around 55 to 60 applicants has also got the registration certificate under the scheme. Just move to the next slide. Yeah. So now, who all are eligible under the scheme, and what is the basic criteria for eligibility under the scheme? Now, if you see, there is a registration portal which has been prescribed by the government, which is called Unnati portal. So units who want to claim incentives, first of all, have to get themselves registered under the Unnati portal. And this registration period is valid from 9th March 2024 till 31st March 2026. So applicants will have to file the application, get themselves registered, and then they can claim incentives under this scheme. The government also says that, you know, whatever applications they receive under this registration period, they're going to dispose of this applications by 30th September 2026. And in case there is a situation where the number of registrations which they grant, it exceeds or it reaches 115% of the total outlay of the scheme, then this scheme can also be stopped prior to 31st March 26, which is the end date of the registration window period. So, you know, it is very important for units who are proposing to invest in these 8 states or who are proposing to do expansion to file their registration applications within this period and obtain the registration certificate from the government. Now, as far as eligibility is concerned, both manufacturing units, except some units in negative list like, you know, cement, pan masala, tobacco, and specified service sectors like, you know, people who are going to set up hotel, hospitality, tourism, or biotechnology units, or EV charging stations, IT, ITAs, BPO, FinTech, all these units would be eligible under the scheme. There are 2 ways in which the registrations would be granted or incentives would be granted. The first would be to a new unit, and the second would be to existing units who undertake expansion. Now, what do we mean by new units under the scheme? So units which have been granted registration under the scheme after 9th March 24 and who commences its commercial production within 4 years from the date of registration and who obtain a new GST registration would be considered as a new unit. Now, why I'm speaking about the new unit and expansion? Because the incentives which are available under the scheme to new unit is substantially higher as compared to an expansion unit, which I would discuss in the later part of my presentation. Now, when we say about expansion of the existing unit, then the existing unit has to increase its investment by minimum 25% in plant and machinery in case of manufacturing. And in case of service unit, it is construction of building and other durable fixed assets. The next topic which I would like to discuss here is the eligible investment for the purpose of manufacturing sector and for the service sector. The reason is because the incentives are dependent upon whatever investments which we are going to do. And the investments are also classified as eligible investment on which the incentives would be given and non-eligible investment on which the incentive would not be provided. Now, for manufacturing sector, if we see, there should be a minimum investment of 1 crore in plant and machinery. And when we say plant and machinery, only the core components of the plant and machinery would be eligible. And when we say core component, it is basically plant and machinery which is required for my manufacturing activities. It will not include some known core components of the plant and machinery like DG sets or building or sheds which we are constructing, wherein we house the plant and machinery and all. So only and only the plant and machinery which is necessary for the manufacturing activity. And as far as the service sectors are concerned, wherein I told you like hotels, tourism, etc. would be eligible. There, the construction of the building and other durable fixed assets like fittings and all would be considered as the eligible investment. Now, what is the time period which will be considered by the government for the purpose of this eligible investment? So whatever investment which is done after 9th March 2024 only would be considered, and the investment which is done till the commencement of the commercial production by the manufacturing sector or by commencement of the operations by the service sector would be considered. So any investment which is done after production, commercial operations would not be taken into consideration. I'll come to the incentives which are available under the scheme. So there are basically 3 incentives which would be given by the government under the scheme. One is the capital subsidy. The second one is interest subsidy. Capital subsidy and interest subsidy is available to both new units also and expansion units also, as we spoke in the earlier slide. And net GST incentives. This is available only to a new unit and not to the expansion unit. And depending upon where the project is located in the state, each state has been divided into 2 zones. So zone A, basically, when we say, is industrially advanced districts, and zone B is basically industrially backward districts. So incentives would be higher where the units are being set up in zone B as compared to zone A. Another important point to note here is that any applicant can get incentives on a maximum of 1 unit or application under the scheme in each state. So there cannot be a scenario that if I'm setting up 2 units in a single state, I would get benefits for both the units. Only to 1 unit it would be given, and the maximum eligible benefit to a single unit, which comprises of capital subsidy, interest subsidy, and net GST, cannot be more than 250 crores. So that is the broad incentive mechanism. Now I will discuss each of the incentive in a bit more detail. So the first incentive is basically a capital subsidy. Now this capital subsidy, again, as I mentioned, is available to both new as well as expansion units. Now, when we say the capital investment subsidy, this would be available to manufacturing and service sector at 30% of the eligible investment. And the maximum cap is 5 crores where the units are set up in zone B. And when the units are set up in zone B, which is industrially backward, the capital subsidy would be 50% of the eligible investment, and the maximum limit would be 7.5 crores. And there could be a scenario where some of the sectors which are not under GST, the maximum cap would be 10 crores. And another important point which is to be noted here with respect to this incentive is that this incentive, if any new unit is claiming this incentive, then it would be eligible to claim this incentive only as a new unit. And if that new unit undertakes any expansion, then that expansion unit will not be eligible for this incentive. The next incentive is interest subsidy. Now, again, interest subsidy is available to both new units also and as well as to expansion units. So units which are in zone A, the interest subsidy would be 3% per annum for a maximum period of 7 years, and which can be claimed any date after the date of application, but it would be available only after the date of commencement of commercial production. For service sector also, the interest subsidy rate is 3% per annum for a period of 7 years. And where units are set up in zone B, the interest subsidy would be given at the rate of 5% for a maximum period of 7 years, again, both for service as well as manufacturing unit. Now, in terms of the loan, which is to be taken for the purpose of this interest subsidy, the loan has to be taken from scheduled commercial banks or financial institutions which are registered by the Reserve Bank of India. So in case any loans are being taken from NBFCs or all, then, interest subsidy would not be available. So we have to be very mindful from where we are taking the loan for setting up our projects. The loan, again, the maximum loan which we can take for the purpose of eligible investment is 250 crores. Any loan which is taken and disbursed beyond 250 crores would not be eligible for the purpose of interest subsidy. Now, this is a very important, incentive which is available only to the new units which are being registered under this scheme. And this incentive is called manufacturing and service linked incentive. And it is linked basically to the output of the manufactured goods or the services which are being provided. So what it says is that, in case the units are set up in zone A, then 100% of the net payment of GST would be available as an incentive for a maximum period of 10 years and with the upper cap of 75% of the investment in plant and machinery. So when we say 100% net payment of GST, it basically means 100% net payment of my CGST plus SGST plus IGST. So unlike, other, schemes where it is only restricted to the SGST portion, this scheme gives you benefit of all the 3 components of the GST. So by setting up unit in northeastern states, the unit can, sell anywhere, like it can sell within, let's say, Assam, or it can sell from Assam to the rest of the states in India, then also the incentive would be available. And for service sector also, this the same limit would apply. Zone B, again, the incentive would be 100% net payment of GST. The upper cap here increases to 100% of the investment in plant and machinery. And in case of service sectors, it would be 100% in construction of building and all. Now, when we say this incentive is available only to the new units, and as I mentioned earlier, the new unit will have to take a separate GST registration to be eligible for this incentives. Again, if the unit is engaged in the business of export of goods or services, and any IGST is being paid on such export of goods or services by utilizing the credit, that would not be considered. And again, there is a annual cap which is there in for disbursing this incentives, which is basically whatever is my eligible investment divided by period of 10 years. And in case there is a scenario where in a year, I am not able to claim my 1/10 limit, then the limit or the balance can be carried forward to the next years to claim the incentives. Before I come to the timelines and all, some of the key aspects which I want to bring in as far as the incentives are concerned. So one thing is that the incentives which are available under the scheme, the unit manufacturing or service unit can claim those incentives. It can also claim the incentives which are provided by the state government separately under its industrial policies. So there is no restriction that incentives can be claimed. If incentives are claimed under this scheme, I cannot claim incentives under the state industrial policies. I can claim incentives under both the policies. Another point is with respect to if any unit is claiming incentive under any other scheme of the central government of India, then if the similar incentive is claimed under that scheme, then incentive would not be available under this scheme. Like if I am claiming interest subsidy under any other scheme, then I'll not be able to claim interest subsidy under this scheme. And also, given the fact that this is a scheme which is backed by central government and with a total outlay of around 10,000 crore, it gives us a reasonable assurance that the units who are setting up their units in this state would actually get the money credited to their bank accounts also. Now I'll just come quickly on the timelines. Registration timelines, I have already discussed that, the registration need to be done till 31st March. As far as the timelines with respect to the incentives are concerned, the capital subsidy application has to be filed within 1 year from production. The interest subsidy has to be filed within 6 months from the end of the financial year, and it's a yearly filing. And the GST linked incentive, which is available only to the new unit, would be filed on a quarterly basis within 6 months from end of the quarter. And just last point which I want to bring is that this scheme, as I said, is a central government scheme. This scheme will be implemented by DPIIT, and DPIIT along will take support from project management unit and project implementation unit, and also the state government for effective implementation of the scheme. And the disbursement of the incentives would be done by the Northeastern Development Finance Corporation, NEDFi, and we have our colleague, the speaker also from this NEDFi, who will be basically the nodal agency for disbursal of incentives under the scheme. So that's all from my side on the Unnati scheme. Any questions, I would be happy to take those during the question and answer. Thank you.
So, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pankaj, for your presentation on this Unnati scheme. With this, we will take a couple of questions which I could see. Okay. So first question that was there on bamboo-based industry, the potential of bamboo-based industry in the Northeast. So who would like to take this? Mr. Zeliang, could you like to take this question? The potential of bamboo-based industry.
Yes, bamboo-based industry, it can be, one is in terms of handicrafts, and the other one can be biomass. So The potential is there, but I think there's also a need to identify the right kind of breed. Though bamboo is available in Northeast for the particular type of product or industry, I think it is also important to look at the bamboo, the right breed of bamboo plantations. So I think there's a potential. Obviously, there's a potential because there's available. But I think someone was talking about the logistic. There is unorganized logistic which needs to be organized. I think if these things are taken care of, there obviously is a potential.
There is one more question with respect to throw some light on the land procurement systems for setting up new units. Mr. Pankaj, would you like to answer this question?
So basically the land procurement system, as far as the new units or any existing units want to do. So basically it will have to approach the respective state government also. So in case they are looking for land from the government authorities or a government land, then the state authorities typically have the industrial units who help them in executing a lease agreement. And in case of private land, obviously the lease deed or the sale deed can be executed.
Just for my clarification and understanding, you said the deadline for registration is 31st March 2026.
Yeah.
But the scheme is valid for 10 years. So
Right.
what does that mean, the registration deadline? And so if I want to establish, or if I want to planning to establish an unit, I need to get myself registered by 31st March, but I can claim the benefit during that 10 years period. Is that
Yes.
understanding right?
Yeah, the understanding is right. We have to get ourselves registered within this period. And once we get the registration certificate, within 4 years from the date of registration, we have to start our commercial production. And then I can get the incentive for the period which is being defined under the scheme. Because it also says that after the scheme, they also have 8 years of committed liabilities. So some unit who starts production during later part of the scheme would also be eligible for incentives.
One more last question from my side is, I think Mr. Zeliang and also Mr. Manmohan Parkash has mentioned about northeastern region growing more than 9.5% to 11% growth, which is well above the national average. So I just want to know what is driving the growth. Is it the government-driven investment, or also you are seeing private-led investment driving this growth? Mr. Prakash, would you like to take this? Mr. Manu Prakash, would you like to take this question?
Yeah, no, I think from our side, the infrastructure-led growth, this is actually an infrastructure-led growth, but we need to get the private sector into it. And the growth numbers that have come is largely because the public investment has been made, quite significant public investment has been made. Now the businesses need to be set up, the entrepreneurs need to come, and ultimately it will be the production centers that will help set up these global value chains. I mean, if you look at the exports out of Northeast, tea exports is the primary export that is there. ADB did a study which identified certain core industries that could be set up, as well as certain agro processing like bamboo was identified as a high value, high value product that could be. So I think we now need to move to the next level, which is developing private sector investment opportunities, for which, as I mentioned, you need to set up more skill development centers. We must identify few strategic industries, and then there needs to be very close partnership between the public sector and the private sector, which can then attract. Assam Advantage, the one that you mentioned, actually was a huge success, and I think that gives us a sense that given the commitment coming from the central government and the state governments, if the private sector can now come and join hands, then probably the next 10, 15 years also we can see the high growth rates that have been observed during the last few years.
Mr. Patil, I think one question which I think earlier also was asked about the land procurement, land acquisition for your infrastructure development projects. So how do you, has been your experience with respect to this when you are developing multimodal logistics parks across the country?
As per our standard operating procedure, the land for development of any multimodal logistic park as well as road and rail connectivity needs to be acquired by the concerned state government. And that land, particularly we check the feasibility from point of view of connectivity, whether railway connectivity is possible. As I explained about the one location in Udaipur, Tripura, it is on the bank of Gomti River. So national waterway is connectivity is possible. Then Udaipur rail connectivity is possible. And just within 500 meters, our national highway exists. So with this all, if we give us our consent to state government further take initiative and acquire that land. In case it is owned by government, immediately the process will start. Otherwise, it is a parallel process. Acquisition will start on one hand, and other activity of the preparation of detailed project report and other thing that will parallelly take place to save the time.
I think the time is up. It's already 5:05. With this, would like to conclude today's program. So before we close for the day, let me thank all our speakers for their thought-provoking talks and presentation and giving us an overview of kind of opportunities that are available for the companies, private sector in Northeast, and also the kind of growth we are expecting with respect to the industries are in the forthcoming years. It is humongous. And also with respect to exports, I think one of the major thrust area could be an exports, especially eco-friendly exports could be the one of the very dominant segment that we can be explored over the period of time. So thank you once again for all the speakers for sharing your time, sparing time and sharing your thoughts on this very important region, and also our participants for joining us for today's event. We look forward to your participation in the next virtual meeting of First Construction Council that is going to be on April 17th and with the theme of automation in construction industry. So till then, thank you and take care.